Thinking of investing, working, or starting a business in the cannabis industry? We've got you covered right here on Plant Problems. Hosted by Tony Frischknecht, Plant Problems takes a different approach to cannabis than what you're seeing and hearing from the mainstream media. Come along with Tony and be in the know about how to invest, work, or start a cannabis business. Let's get the show started with your host, Tony Frischknecht.
Hey, welcome to Get Your Mind Set. I hope you're ready to get your mindset into a direction that is going to get you to the next level, because that's what this whole podcast is all about, is helping you grow. And I'm sure that you've listened to other podcasts where we talk about what you're grateful for, what is your focus, having energy when you wake up in the morning. If you don't have energy, make sure you have your coffee first. And the other thing is, what are you going to be doing different, and how do you become busy over productivity? You want to make sure that you drop being busy and being productive, okay? We talked about those few things. And now, remember I said that I would eventually have some guests on my program, things that would really get you thinking outside the box, getting to the next level, seeing it from other people's point of view. Well, I've got a good friend of mine here, and it is Anthony Frischknecht, and he's got a book that he wrote. It's From Black Market. You know what's interesting is Vicente Fox, the former president of Mexico, is the one that gave him his forward. You know what that tells me? That we've got somebody here that is connected. And I always want to bring you somebody in that's going to help you realize that, you know, your potential is not your limitations, it's your expectations. And if you think that you can't get somebody to do a forward like that, like a former president of another country, then you've only limited yourself. And I never want you to ever feel like you limited yourself. It doesn't matter what it is that you're doing, because it matters on what's the information and how can you help somebody else grow. And the way you do that is you simply open up your mind and realize that, you know what, you are powerful and unstoppable, and you have the confidence. And you know what, they're just people out there and they want to make a difference too. And so why would the former president give a forward? And it's because he had something to share. And Tony's all about sharing, not about bragging or anything like that. And he's all about being grateful for everything he has. And he wrote this book to help people through the market so they can understand how to help other people out there. Imagine people that are suffering, that are in pain right now, where your only focus is to help them get out of pain, to help them have a better quality of life. And that's what this book's about. It's about helping people through the struggles and challenges of some businesses out there. They're failing and they could be making it a lot easier. And that's where Tony steps up. He's got a great, fantastic website. Make sure you check that out, blackmarketbook.com. That is his website. You want to learn all kinds of things about the market, about the medical marijuana industry. And some of you are going, oh my God, it's marijuana, it's drugs, it's dope. Is it? What's more drugs? Some pharmaceutical medicines that you have to take because of side effects? They're not side effects, they're effects in your body. Or the natural way that can help so many people. I know when my sister had brain cancer, and all the medication she was on, it really messed her up. And she's not even able to work anymore because of that. Whereas if she had gone and tried some medical marijuana, I don't know, maybe it would have been a different path for her. But you know what? I'm open to the idea of anything that's going to help somebody out there. We should at least give them the proper information. Let them do their investigation. You do your homework. And then what's right for you is the path you should always go on. Because in your heart, you know what the answer is. But let's not be influenced by people out there saying, you know, what's right or wrong for them should not always be right or wrong for you. It's your decision. And you're in charge of your mind. And listen to your gut. And get the right information. Investigate. Do your homework. The main thing is when you do your homework, you can come out with a different result. And then we stop judging from an outside point of view. We get all the information and we make an intelligent decision instead of an emotional reaction. I want you to really investigate this and listen to what Tony has to say. So Tony came down here. He flew in. He wanted to do this podcast. He came all the way down here, and he's traveling all over doing a book promotion right now. Book signings, and he's all over the place. He's really promoting this thing, and he's one of the leading experts in the business. And that's the reason I asked him to come down here, you know. It's a great book. It's phenomenal. I started reading it, and it's hard to put it down. It's an easy read, but it's very informative. It's very educational. And it's going to give you at least the edge on what direction and some of the information you didn't have on that in the business. And then do your own investigation. So I want to say hi to Tony real fast, and I want to thank him for being here. Tony, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Mark. Thanks for having me here. I'm really excited to be here. And I appreciate all the accolades. There's some phenomenal stuff that I put into this book. I'm really excited to share it with people that are interested in the industry, like you said, as well as if they don't really know a direction that they want to head. Heading the right direction in this industry specifically is tough. One of the main reasons why is there is so much opportunity. Which opportunity do I take? This one, that one, the other 50 that are coming down the pipe? So what I tried to do is make this easy for the reader to really break down where they see themselves at in the industry. Not only that, people that are just interested in cannabis in general, this might give them a better idea of what's happening. And things are moving very quickly. No doubt, I think within the next 12 to 18 months, our entire nation is going to be legalized. Some people may fight me on that, but from what I've been seeing political realm and also in the state with the smaller sectors, you're starting to see that motion and that movement happening. So it's pretty exciting for people that are in the industry right now. Also people that really want to expand their business. There's a lot of barriers right now that the federal government has put up that have blocked that.
So what are some of those barriers? Because when I spoke to you, here's the difference between you and somebody else. The first thing you said is, you don't do it to get high. You do it to help people. And your whole purpose was, how do I help people in their situation, the medical situation? And this is what this is geared towards, is really getting people to the next level from a place that comes from where you really want to share and help somebody. And not, hey, let's just go get stoned on the weekend and be stoners. It's not the, what is that movie, The Fast Times at Ridgemont High? That's not what this is about. This is about taking it to the next level. And I've even tried to get my parents, who could hardly walk to this day, and I said, quit taking all that pharmaceutical medication that you're pumping into your body that you can't even walk. I said, why don't you try something natural? But remember, they're 70-some years old, so their whole idea, their identity of what medical marijuana is I don't want to be a drug dealer. I don't want to be on drugs. I said, Mom, Dad, what do you think you're doing now? And it's hard for them. Now I have an aunt that has hepatitis C, and she would be on so much Percocet and all that, she could not function. She got numb to it. The only thing that helped her out was her medical marijuana. And thank God for that. So what would you say, how can you help somebody understand, because you're coming from a different place, how can you help somebody understand the value and the benefits of this business? And open mind. All I'm asking you to do as listeners, have an open mind. Listen to an expert, somebody that cares for you, somebody that isn't sitting around the hotel room and getting stoned, somebody that's out there researching, doing something. You're the man for that. And I think even that's why I say to the man, black market to the man, is kind of cool how you say that, because that's what it's about, So what could you, information or help can you give to the person listening to this podcast, Tony?
Well, the first thing is that, you're right. I think the mindset of society is starting to change, where your parents, where their mindsets are at, where their understanding is. Mainstream media is starting to put out some better stuff out there so people really understand, and they're getting comfortable with the idea of saying marijuana. I think that's probably the biggest thing. It's been, the industry has been demonized for so long. The older generation is probably the toughest until just recently, probably the last year, with CBD opening up. Education at this point is the biggest thing. CBD being nationalized through hemp right now, where it's legal, is opening up so many channels, right? And we'll soon see some of the research and the science behind it. And I think that's really what we're missing right now. And it is out there. If you guys are out there looking for quality products, it is out there. It just takes some time to dig through. I know probably one of the biggest questions I get when I say I'm in the marijuana industry is, well, how about CBD? How do I choose? It's for me to point somebody in a specific direction. It takes a little more work than that. It's not as cut and dry. So when you're out there and you're trying to export yourself, what are you looking for as something to help you, whether it be anxiety, if you're going through cancer treatments, what can help my appetite, stuff like that. It takes a little bit of time. And, I just want to share something with the listeners on something that they can do, understanding the science and what will help them is, do some reading on it and really see what do you hear works for your ailment. Because unfortunately, it being so new, that research just isn't as readily available as it should be. But over the next 5 years, you guys are going to see some huge, huge leaps and bounds, especially now that hemp CBD is legal. And just to clarify, just so I'm not just to kind of make it simple for you guys, CBD and THC come from the same plant. Cannabis and hemp are the same plant. I want to make sure that people understand that, because the only thing that changes it is the way our laws are written. That's the only thing. And I see that mistake happen so often. So when you guys are out there asking and talking about hemp and cannabis, it's the same thing. It's just the compounds that are taken out of it, the actual properties that we will utilize for medical purposes. So I don't want to go too deep into that, but that's just a little something for you. But you guys are in an exciting time. I was talking to Mark about this earlier about prohibition and the way things are changing. And it's really interesting to see how societies is starting to accept it, especially now you're looking like states like California, which is a huge economy. And people are seeing that in our day-to-day lives, it's not really changing a lot of, as you're driving down the street, we don't have madness and craziness happening. A lot of people just going about their daily lives. And now they have an option of using something medically to help them get through their pain or their suffering.
Even with PSTD, I feel that this would be very helpful for people, And as I'm looking at your book here, who is your book really for? I mean, how can this book help people out there get this message out there, what it really is? And I noticed it says 10 steps to become a multimillionaire in the legal cannabis industry. Well, that's exciting in itself alone, but who is this book really geared to help? If you were to say, what reader would pick this up and go, this is the book you got to read. It's a great book. The few things that I did start looking through was very encouraging, and I'm going to read the whole thing before the end of the day. But what could you tell the listeners?
So there's obviously a lot of entrepreneurs out there. I'm a serial entrepreneur myself. I've got multiple investments in a lot of different areas. One of them is, of course, the cannabis industry. I've got 15 years worth of experience in the industry. And so I tried to take and make something simple, a 10 steps book that really gets down to what I believe where you need to get your mindset in order to either start a business in this industry or either work in this industry. It kind of gives you a roadmap on, it asks you questions that you're going to ask yourself and say, where do I see myself here? The first step is trying to figure out what your risk tolerance is.
Yeah.
In any business, this is huge. How far are you going to take it? How much are you willing to risk? I think it's so important because that really tells you where you're going to be at in the next 5 to 10 years. If you can only put a little bit of time and effort into it, well, you get out what you put in.
That's right.
And, Mark's familiar with that and all his experience, but it really comes down to that. And I just take a simple approach so that it's so overwhelming out there. If anybody ever goes to any of these business conferences and stuff, you're inundated with so much information that I'm trying to simplify and at least give you a starting point where you're like, oh, okay, I would like to start a marijuana grow. Where do I need to be at in my life, my personal life, my finances? How much stuff is really going to take to get me there? I try to lay that out in the book for you and make it simple so you're like, okay, you actually know what you're getting into.
Yeah. I think it's funny because everyone says, well, it's a weed. You just got to grow it. You'll make money. You know how many times I've heard that? And it's funny that everybody says, it's just a weed. How hard could it be? They're all broke. So these are strategies that you're actually teaching somebody. See, I can get their mindset, but having the right mindset to be successful and want to do the business doesn't mean you're going to be successful. If you don't have the right strategies on the business end, on what steps to do if you haven't done this business, then you may have the greatest mindset in the world. The mindset's going to get you to take the action. The business is going to get you to take the right action. And that's what this is about. When you take the right actions, you're going to get the right results. Planting a plant because it's a weed does not make you going to make more money. That just means you have a weed. Now, what do you do with it? Where's your steps at? How do you really grow the business, And this is about a very strategic way of how to become a businessman in the medical marijuana business. A strategy, not just someone getting high going, hey, let's start a marijuana business. It's legal. Let's do it. We can sell it. It's worth all this. They don't understand. Having the right mindset and having the right strategies together is what makes your business successful. And that's what I like about this. This lays it out for you step by step, doesn't it? What do you need to do? What is your expectation? How much are you committed to it? What's it going to cost you? Because if you don't have those answers, sticking a seed in the ground doesn't make you successful. It just means you have some kind of a job now that's not going to produce any money, or you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you don't know in this business. But this lays it out, and this gets you down the right path. Now, once you get down this right path, boom, I can't wait for the second book to come out.
Yeah, exactly, Mark. You're right. It comes down to that pathway and creating that pathway. And I take these from what I did and the experiences that I went through to become successful. And, Mark had mentioned it before. I am a multimillionaire, and so I'm writing it from experience. There's a lot of people in this industry that, they say they have the experience. Ask them what their success rate is. Where are they really at? I have the proof to back it up. And so following these steps will get you to that starting point, and then it'll give you a good foundation. And to build a solid house and a solid business, it takes a great foundation.
Yeah, you know what I love too, Tony? Is you got to go to your website. Go to blackmarketbook.com. Blackmarketbook.com. Get this book. There's some bonus offers in there as well. You can reach out to Tony. Think about it. The former president of Mexico wanted to write his forward. What does that tell you about him? You're dealing with the real deal here, and there's a lot of information. I want to do another podcast with you later down the road, but let's get people started on this. Let's open their mind and get them down the right path. Make sure you go to his website, blackmarketbook.com. Mention the fact that you heard him on the podcast here. You get some special offers. And what was to be some final things? 10 steps to becoming a multimillionaire in the legal cannabis business. That's a pretty good start. But know the strategy that you're having. Let's get the right mindset, wake up, understand what this is about. And then, you know what? Get out there and make a difference in somebody's life. So any final words for your listeners before we hit podcast number 2, Tony?
Yeah, final words would be, this is going to be challenging, and it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is going to take you some time to work. But I guarantee if you put in the hard work and you don't give up, you'll make it and you will succeed. So good luck to you guys out there, and great being on your show, Mark. Thank you so much.
And how do you pronounce your name again? It's
Frischknecht.
Frischknecht. That's right. Boy, those Italian names are long. I'm telling you right now. I don't think it's Italian, but you know what? It's an honor for having Tony on this podcast. I'm looking forward to doing another podcast with him. And this is Mark Yuzuik. Make sure you go to getyourmindset.com with Mark Yuzuik. That is, and let me know what you think. I want to make sure that we've got your feedback and all that stuff. Getyourmindsetwithmark.com. Shoot me an email. Let me know how I can help you. And let's go ahead and continue to help you grow, grow, grow. I'm Mark Yuzuik, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
You've just listened to another insightful episode of Plant Problems. If you like what you heard so far, don't forget to tell your friends and colleagues. For additional resources or to leave a review, head over to plantproblem.com. Join us again next week on Plant Problems with Tony Frischknecht. We look forward to having conversations with you as we go along this journey.